Hello and welcome to 2014 Paper 2 Leaving Cert Ordinary Level. So we're on to Section B here and starting question 7. So as always, I suggest you pause the video and read ahead and give your best attempt, and we'll see how you're going right or wrong in the next few seconds, minutes. Okay, I'm assuming you're back. So here we are, question 7. 70-mark question, so there's many individual parts, much longer than the previous questions. A newspaper report in October 2013. Already. You should always be highlighting things as you're reading through it that might be important. Not as important necessarily, maybe the date, we'll see. Stated that 90% of homeowners who were liable for property tax, so that might be a small stipulation, had registered for it. The total number of properties liable for the tax was estimated at 1.9 million. Okay, so it's a property tax question, it's very topical at the time. Probably still is. So let's get stuck in. So part A, part 1, estimate the number of properties that were registered. Okay, so let's tease this out. There was 1.9 million houses that could be registered. Only 90% of them were registered. So that would seem to be your answer. Okay, so I would type out here. So 1.9 million times 90%. Now I've done this. 90% is the same thing as 90 over 100, so you could multiply 1.9 by 90 over 100. But if you are good at percentages, or you can get this, 90 over 100 is the same thing as 0.9. So multiplying by 0.9 would go straight to the answer. Okay, and that is 171. So 1,700,000. What comes here? 710,000. So 1.71 million. Okay, so that's that. Pretty handy. Now, I'll go back just for a second to reason it out. Part 2 here suggests one reason why some properties were not registered. Now, depending on up here on current affairs, this question could be tricky or hard, but I use one reason, and one, valid reason. It doesn't have to be stated in the best English in the world. But if you were in the situation, and you were due to register for property tax, and you didn't, why not? Okay, so the most obvious one is, don't have any money, okay, can't afford it. So, just not the ones that put here is the option, okay. But if you lived overseas, you might not know about the tax, okay. You might be actively trying to avoid tax. I suppose if that would categorize you can't afford it. People are able to do the paperwork due to whatever reasons, the complexity of it. But there's just 3 reasons. Again, there's multiple reasons. The ones I mentioned already are equally valid. So that's that. Now, part B here, okay, it's tricky because there's 2 things going on. You're working out, first of all, the angles for the pie chart. This is a pie chart question. And then the pie chart itself. So there's 25 marks in total, okay, split between the angles and the pie itself, okay. Now, the last few years, I mentioned it down here, the pie charts came up quite often. So if the 2 things I had to know then again, comes up last few years, may not come again for another few years, you can never predict in reality, but I would be familiar with how to draw a pie chart, bar chart, and the stem and leaf plot. They're the ones I seem to see most often. And of them, the pie and stem and leaf are the most common, so far. Okay. Let's read through it. Homeowners who registered. Now, so homeowners who registered. That's the 171 million. So I'm going to write that down here. 171. Let's put million. Sitting on the table, right? Million, and then even the word registered. Okay, I'll put reg for registered. That to me is you taking information not given in the question and using it in this question here, so in your problem solving. Should be the attempt, okay? I need to get you gain something, okay? You need nothing more. So, homeowners who registered were required to value their property in one of a number of given valuation bands. So the bands 0 to 100,000, etc., all going up. The percentage who would value their properties in each valuation band is given in the table below. So the table is fully filled in. Should add to 100%. No harm checking that. I'm not going to do it here, but it will. Okay. You need to represent that data in the pie chart. So, how much of the 1.71 million is represented by 24.9%? Okay. Now, you're not doing that in numbers. You're going to do it in degrees because it's a pie chart. So, out of the full 360 in a circle, how many degrees are represented by 24.9%. There's a number of ways of doing this, but basically finding 24.9% of 360 will do the job, okay? So I have it done here. So 24.9 over 100 multiplied by 360 gives you 89.64 degrees, okay? That's 89 degrees, 64 minutes. Well, it's so, there's no way you can ever plot 0.64 of a degree. This is too small size. That's why we're rounding it off to an approximation, okay? So in this case you're rounding up, okay, so 90, do the same calculation again and again and again and again, okay, for each different band, and you end up with your degrees. Come along then, and you're going to plot your 90, whatever. So big thing here is to have a protractor, okay? If you don't, like best guess, but you run the risk of losing marks. Okay, so make sure you have a protractor, compass, all those different pieces of equipment that are essential for the Leaving Cert Maths exam. Now this year, they say here, represent the data in the table below, the table using the pie chart below. Label each sector you create and show the angle in each sector clearly. So there's two things being asked there. Label each sector and show the angle. A lot of students did one or the other, okay, and lost marks. So I thought it was very harsh, but that's why you see here, you have your each thing labeled, so you could have the 24.9%, etc., whatever. And then the degrees. We followed off from that, okay. So a 25 mark question, okay, the pie chart there is worth, I said, 20 marks. Now we're on to part C, part 1 here. Okay, so a big table to fill in, and you now, from previous part B, you know the percentages of each property. So if you check that there, okay, you'll find that if you get the 1.71 million and you multiply that by, was it 24.9%, you should get this figure of 425,790. Okay, I'm going to bring my calculator up just to prove that, okay, so let's clear that. So 171 million. So that's 171 million. Multiply that by 0.249, or 24.9 divided by 100 is 0.249, and I get to 425,790. So that's where that number is coming from. Why not repeat? Okay, so 112 by 28.6% gives them that figure. So it's 157, what's the answer here? 157 by 21.9% should give you the 374,490. Okay, so I've done a calculation, sample calculation down here to show where I'm getting the answer. Now you could do all of them. There isn't actually all of them space given there. And then your figures, if you like to, you just change the calculator number, you should be correct for the whole way down for the number of properties. Now the second thing then is the table. We'll go back for the blank table. Is the total tax due. Okay, so if you multiply the 45 by 425,790, you get this little over 19 million. You know the exact same thing for each one. So 112 times 489,060 gives you the 54, almost 55 million. 157 by the 374,000 odd gave you this number. Okay, just be careful each time that you're typing the numbers into the calculator correctly. Okay, now I shouldn't have to say it, but make sure you have a calculator. In the exams I supervise, I can't tell you how high a percentage it is of people who turn up without a calculator. I'm kind of going, you come into a gunfight with a plastic fork, okay? So you have no chance. So once you've done all the way down, now you can't do the final one because you don't know how much the tax per property was for the houses over 300,000. So that's not applicable because you can't calculate. Okay. That's pretty handy enough. Okay, it was 15 marks going across that there. Now part 2 here says find the total tax due on properties registered by October 2013 with a valuation of up to 300,000. Okay, I forget to do this. So I'm adding up the total number there. Find the total tax due on those properties. Okay, sorry, read the question properly. With a valuation up to 300,000. So basically you're adding the entire column here. Okay, those numbers. You don't have a figure to add for the ones over 300,000, but you're asked to add up the tax due from the up to 300,000. So if you get what they're asking, then it's pretty handy. Okay, so that's the sum there, and I've got there was 189 million, just a little over 189 million. Easy money if you can get it. Now, part 3 then. The total tax due on all the properties that were registered was estimated at 241 million. Find the total tax due on those properties with a valuation over 300,000. Now, I haven't said this yet, this question. Probably sick of hearing me say this, but there's so many words. I have a very good standard of English, and I often get confused, or get the wrong end of the stick. And people often, I've asked you this in the past, like, how often would you read the question? You know, once or twice. Not good enough. I'm reading it 8 or 9 times. Okay, and I'm used to this kind of stuff. You read it as many times as you need to understand exactly what's going on. So, underline things, whatever strategy works for you, that is the best thing to do. Okay, so you look for the total tax on all the properties that were registered. So that's the 1.71 million, and that was estimated to be 241 million. Now, if you think about it, okay, you know how much tax was collected from the ones up to 300,000. They're telling you that there was 241 million euro collected. The difference is the amount paid by the people with houses over 300,000. Okay, so take those two figures away. You end up with 51 million, or a little over, almost 52 million. Happy days. Now, the next thing there, as it says, I'll go back here for the problem solving. Find the mean estimated tax per property on those properties with a valuation over 300,000. Now, remember this word here, mean, threw me off for a while. Okay, but all they're really looking for is the tax due on properties over 300,000 divided by the number of properties. Okay, and that will give you the figure they're looking for. Okay, so basically, you should simply say there, find the estimated tax per property. The word mean, I don't think is actually necessary. Okay, it's confusing because I start thinking statistical mean. So the 159030, where does that figure come from? Okay, if we look at this figure here from the total number of properties, okay, you have that figure now from the calculation. You've worked out this total tax due. You're basically finding how many of them in this big number, and that will correspond to the tax per property. That's what's happening. Okay, the calculation is pretty simple. So it's the 51,649,990 divided by the 159030 gives me this figure, and make sure it's asked to round it. If it's not asked to round it, it's maybe must come out as that, and make sure you put the units in. And actually, I should say that for the whole parts, every part previous to this. The euro symbol, it's in euros, the units, not pounds, not dollars, not whatever. Okay, so it's part 4. Now, part 5 here again, the first thing I just go is, what? How many words can they use in a question? But each one may be important, and the times that I've made mistakes, I can count them on lots of hands and fingers. It's because I haven't read the question. It's pure and simple. Okay. Now, I never learned my lesson. I'll probably make a mistake right now. But of course, when I do that, it'll be to illustrate this. But some homeowners may undervalue their property in order to pay less tax. Shocker. Okay. So that's a very important statement. Okay, but the word undervalue. For example, one estimate stated that 20% of properties in the 100,001 to 150,000 band should have been valued in the upper band, one band up. So those 20% of properties, they've paid less tax than they should have paid. Okay, so there's a difference there. If, let's say, for example, they should have paid 20, they only paid 10, well then there's 10 less tax paid. Okay, so based on the estimate, find the amount of extra tax that will be raised if these properties were registered in the correct valuation band. Okay, so remember, these people have paid a certain amount. They just didn't pay as much as they should have. So they owe the difference. What would that difference amount to over all those properties? So there's lots of things to collect here from different sections, okay? I'm going to go to the answer, but if you look back, 489,060, okay, that's the number of properties in this band. Okay, let's go back and check it, okay? So you're going all the way back here. That's that figure there. Okay. Now, 20% of those should be in here. So the difference in amounts, so what's that? 2 from 7 is 5. 45? So there's a difference of 45 euro between those two. 20% of these, okay, should have paid 45 euro extra. So if you can work out 20% of that, and then multiply your answer by 45, you should get the extra tax owed. Now that's pretty complex stuff going on there, and if you get it, it's doable. The maths of it is not hard. It's just what are they asking you to do? Okay, so I would suggest, look, it's a 5p question, not that many marks going for it. If you're struggling, try find something from a previous part that matches up. If you wrote down the 489060 and multiply that by 20%, okay, without knowing what you're doing, okay, you're just going, I think that figure works, so if that figure's given in the question, you would have got the 2 marks, okay, the mid partial, okay. Now, if you get that far, you may be able to make a step further. But if look in a complicated question like this, and if you're getting half the marks for it, I think it's a win, okay. Obviously, you want the win-win of the full marks. So, from doing the calculation, we work out that there's a mistake, okay. It's 97,812 houses, not euro. My bad. I'll fix that in a minute. So that number of houses underpaid tax. I worked out the difference in the bands. So they should have been paying 157. They only did pay 112, so they owe 45 in the difference. Multiply 45 by that number, 97,812, and you get the underpaid tax, little under 4.5 million. Okay. So it's part 5, should be almost there. Okay, so that's question 7 finished, okay. Now, I was running up to 17 minutes on this video and it's gone a little long, but with questions in section B, there's a slow burn, but you have time, okay, so take your time, read the questions, and hopefully you come out pretty well. But you don't know it's going to be a question on volumes, or if it's going to be a question on tax, percentages. They're going to test all that arithmetic skills that you've built up over years. So you have the skills. It's just a matter of understanding what's being asked. So focus on that in any study you're doing. You can't really do these questions enough because it all comes down to the day. Okay, and that's a bit unfortunate. But if you have the skills and they're at the ready, then when the problem arises, you can show your problem solving skills and get through it. And in reality, that's what maths is. There's no point, you can't practice this. When life deals you a problem, you have to come up with a solution. And a piece of parting advice on this question is that if you ever approach to solve a problem in your work or your career, never say, I can't do it. Try fob the boss off or whoever it is for a few minutes or a day or whatever you can get away with and have a chance to think about it. Once you have a chance to think about it, you'll figure out a solution. Now, it may not be the best solution, okay? That takes time and practice and implementing things, but you come up with a solution. You may have to ring mommy, best friends, whatever, whoever it is, you know might be able to help. And they'll give you a hint or tip here or whatever hint or tip there, something from their experience. You walk back to your boss and you go, here boss, this is my strategy, and you give it a go. If it doesn't work, you improve it, okay? Until you end up with a perfect strategy, and that's how you deal with that particular issue from then on. The alternative is, you're the person who says, oh, I can't do that. Okay, now, I know if I was a boss, when I have been the boss in the past, the person who says to me they can't do something, well, bye-bye. Next time I'm cutting, okay, jobs, you're gone first. The person who said, I'll give them my best shot, and came up with a strategy and then, eventually improved it, they're the ones I want to keep. Because they're the ones who are actively trying their best in the job they're in. Okay, anyway, bit of a rant at the end there. So, thanks very much, and see you on the question 8.